This is the answer key video for Chapter 3, Lesson 4, Part 3, Homework Problems. Number 8 says, the Vieira family is traveling from Philadelphia to Orlando for vacation. The equation y equals 1,000 minus 65x represents the distance in miles remaining in their trip after x hours. It says graph the equation, then interpret the slope and the y-intercept. So let's start off by graphing the equation. And it's not written in y equals mx plus b format, but it won't take much to write it that way. Y equals, let's just move things around, negative 65x plus 1,000. Okay, so now it's in slope-intercept form. I'm going to make a small table on the side here with my x inputs and my y outputs. So if x is 0, I know that y is 1,000. And if x is 1, I know it's 1,000 minus 65, which is 935. And then 2 would be 870. 3 is 805. And then I'll just do 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Minus 65. 740. And 675. Okay, so I've got a table of values to graph. So now I'm going to start at 1,000 when x equals 0, y equals 1,000, and then at 1 hour it is 935, so about right there. In 2 hours it is, right, that's hours, right? Yep, x is hours. In 2 hours, 870, so about right there. 3 hours, 805. 4 hours, 740. 5 hours, 670. So if I connect those dots, it's not going to be a perfect line, but it's a line. Interpret the slope and the y-intercept. So I graphed it. And then now interpreting the slope is the number of miles per hour. So 65 miles per hour, which is the slope. And then the y-intercept means that they have 1,000 miles total to travel. All right, problem 9. We have to graph each equation on a separate sheet of grid paper. So I know some of you do not have grid paper at home, so I made this slideshow for you to write in the graphs. So I'm going to start off by labeling my y and x axis. And I just went down the middle and down the middle. I have to find, so the slope is 1/3 x and the y-intercept is negative 5. So if I'm given the coordinate xy, when x is 0, y is negative 5. So 0, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be right there. And then my slope is rise over run, slope so it's 1/3. So up 1/3 to the right. And it's positive, so I know that I have to increase. Up 1, 3 to the right. So my line is going to look like this. Okay, so I graphed that equation. I could also make a table of values, x and y values. So when x is 0, y is negative 5. So when x is 3, y is negative 4. When x is 6, y is negative 3. Okay, for number 10, I'm going to do the same thing by starting off and always draw in your y and x axis. And then we're going to graph negative x plus 3 over 2. And I actually know that y and negative x, y equals negative 1x plus 3 over 2, or also known as 1/2. So my slope is negative 1, and my y-intercept is 1 1/2. So I'm going to start at my y-intercept 1 1/2. So I know that it crosses at that point. And if I go down 1 to the right 1, because it's negative, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, and I'm just going to keep this pattern going. And I can do that on the opposite side of the graph, on the left side of the graph, up 1 to the left 1, up 1 to the left 1. The reason I went down is because I think down is a negative direction. And so if I can't go two negatives because that'll equal a positive. So if I go down, I have to go positive to the right to make it a negative line. So that's why I did it that way. And then I'm going to connect my dots to create my line. And so that is the graph of the equation y equals negative x plus 3 over 2. And I'm going to label my y-intercept of 0 and 1 1/2. Number 11, I have to do the same thing. I'm graphing the equation. Start off by labeling my x and y axis. Oh, whoops. I got them confused. Y and x. And then I'm graphing the line negative 4/3 x plus 1. So 1 is my y-intercept, and negative 4 over 3 would be my slope. So I'm going to start at positive 1 on my graph, and then I'm going to go down 4 to the right 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right 3, 1, 2, 3. So down, I can't go down 4 and over 3 there, but I can go starting from the center, going up 4 to the left 3. So that's my graph for this equation, where the y-intercept, just labeling that, is 0, 1. Number 23, the equation y equals 15x plus 37 can be used to approximate the temperature y in degrees Fahrenheit based on the number of chirps x a cricket makes in 15 seconds. Graph the equation to estimate the number of chirps a cricket will make in 15 seconds if the temperature is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to make a table of values with my x and y values, and that will help me figure out this problem better. So when I'm substituting in like 0 for x, I know y will be 37. So I'm going to find out what 1, 2, 3, and it looks like it only goes to about 3. So I'm going to figure that out. 37 plus 15 be 42 plus 10, 52. And then 52 plus 15 would be 7, 57, 67. 67 plus 15, 72, 82. Now let's graph these values. So if I have 37 as my y-intercept just below 40, I'm going to make my dot on the y-axis, so that's 37. And then at 1, so I'm looking here, I go up to 52. So about right there. And then at 2, right here, I go up from there to about 67, so almost 70. And then for 3, I go up to about 82. So that's my line for my graph. And so now I have to answer the question. So this is actually about 80 degrees. So this 82 here is my 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So at about 80 degrees, there'll be about 3 chirps. So about 3 chirps is the answer there. Okay, last problem on the homework. The Lakeside Marina charges $35 rental fee for a boat in addition to charging $15 an hour for usage. The total cost, Y, of renting a boat for X hours can be represented by the equation y equals 15x plus 35. It says graph the equation and interpret the slope and y-intercept. So I'm going to make a table of values to start. So at 0, I know that my y-intercept is 35, so y will be 35. At 1, if I substituted in a 1 for x here, 1 times 15 plus 35 is 50. So then I realize the pattern, I'm just adding 15 each time. So 2, 65, 3, and it looks like the graph goes by 2s, so I could probably just skip to 4 there. So 4, and I'm just going to add 30 each time then. So from 65 to 4 will be 95, and then adding 30 would be 125, and then adding 30 would be 155. So 0, 35, 2, 65, and then 4 off the charts. Almost, yeah. So that would be my graph of my equation. And then to interpret the slope and the y-intercept, I'm going to reread my problem. The Lakeside Marina charges $35 for a rental fee. So that's like the initial charge. So the y-intercept is the $35 intercept. The y-intercept is like the initial rental fee. And then the $15 an hour would be the slope. So slope would be $15 per hour. All right, so those are the answers for today's homework assignment.